What's up, guys? Wanted to do a little rant about getting over nerves, mainly because I don't really have any other content to put out right now aside from just like highlights of me playing CS, and well, that's about it. Pro strats, it's hard to keep doing pro strat because I just can't keep watching game after game after game after game looking for a strategy to break down or a strategy to showcase. Everything that's going on in the strategic realm of pro play is stuff that people have been doing for a while now, and the purpose of pro strat isn't to show you the cookie cutter basic strategies of a map. Like, I wouldn't necessarily do a video on an A execute on a Mirage, that's your standard jungle, stairs, and CT smoke, showing it off as a cool pro strategy. I'd rather make a different series that's something along the lines of back to basics, where I talk about these cookie cutter basic strategies and kind of go really into detail on like what needs to happen, where people are going, etc. And I actually might make that a separate series, since pro strat is just really hard to keep going essentially. But anyway, moving on to the actual getting over nerves things. So small background, I have always been a competitive person when it comes to specifically games. I've played StarCraft, I've played Smash 4, I've played Smash Ultimate, I've played League for a little bit, although I mainly just played solo queue. And obviously I've played Counter-Strike for basically all of my life. I think I first started playing Counter-Strike when I was like in 5th grade, and I'm 24, so you can figure the math out on that. But one of the biggest things about getting over nerves is just repeating your situations and just getting in the reps. Kind of like a workout, you get used to being able to like bench however much it is, or just getting used to a situation. The more you do something, the more you'll get used to it, and by repeating these situations, you'll get over the nerves that might come with it. And by nerves, I mean like performance anxiety, being scared of the outcome, things like that. So for example, when I first started competing at my college's bi-weekly tournaments for Smash 4, my first tournament, I was extremely nervous because I didn't know what to expect. I don't know how good I was compared to other people. Obviously, my roommate, who kind of brought me into the competitive scene of Smash at the school, was much better than me and much more experienced than me. So I wasn't very confident. I wasn't sure what to expect. I was kind of scared of just like going 0-2, getting eliminated twice in a row without getting a single set win. And the greatest thing about that, my very first tournament there, was my very first opponent was also someone who was his first tournament too. So we were both playing our first tournaments together, and each set is a best of 3. And we went to the third game, and we both went to our last stock, our last life. We were both at very high percent, so one like strong hit would knock each other out and get the win for whoever knocked the person out. And let me tell you, the amount of shaking my hands were doing was absolutely insane. I could not describe how much I was shaking as we were playing that very tense last hit situation on the last game. And that's just a testament to just not being used to the situation, not being used to tournaments, going somewhere in person and trying to do your best. As I kept going, and as I kept playing, and as I kept fighting people that were better than me, worse than me, of my skill level, I started getting used to the environment. I started getting used to going into a tournament and be like, all right, we gotta play Smash. So to bring this back to Counter-Strike, just keep playing and keep pushing through the nerves that you might have if you are not experienced in playing like a scrim or a league match or whatever it is. Somewhat related to this is kind of what I call the tiers of play when it comes to just Counter-Strike. And this is my personal opinion, and feel free to disagree or whatever, but in my opinion, matchmaking is the lowest tier of Counter-Strike in the sense of importance. Now, you might really care that you're supreme or global in matchmaking, but personally, I don't. Matchmaking really is not important to me. It doesn't really demonstrate my skills. The environment is not structured, and there's a lot of things that you can kind of just get away with that you wouldn't normally get away with in higher tiers of Counter-Strike. I go to Pugs next, mainly because they're on third-party services, and you have to kind of like go out of your way to play essentially what is matchmaking, but on 128 servers. Directly above Pugs, I have Scrims. So Scrims is organized 5 versus 5. You know, you have a roster on a team, and or you just have a consistent 5 or 6 people that play together, and you know, you start developing your own strategies, teamwork, chemistry, etc. And above Scrims become league matches where you're paying an extra fee to play in a league system, and these are the matches that actually matter, so to speak. You know, these are the matches that you're playing to perform, essentially. Now, above league matches are playoff matches, which is basically the same thing, except you have a even bigger chance to get into a higher division in whatever league you're playing in. So, you know, if you play an open league, you might have some sense of nerves in open, but when you hit playoffs, those nerves tend to be a little more strong. And that's not the case for everybody. This is just mainly from my personal experience, but I would imagine a lot of people also feel this way. And if you haven't played in playoffs before, then, you know, playing in playoffs for the first time can be a little nerve-wracking. My first playoff series was also a little nerve-wracking, but that's a whole different story. And above playoffs is going to be LAN, where you actually go in person somewhere to play. LAN's a totally different environment, at least from what I would expect. Haven't really been to one, so can't say exactly what it's like, but I would imagine there's a lot of in-person environmental factors that you wouldn't normally have before, like people yelling across the room to shit talk you, or you know, just being actually next to your teammates and being able to look at their screens, etc. The second big picture thing when it comes to getting over your nerves is reassuring yourself and having the confidence to do the things that you would normally do in any other situation or in any other type of game. A lot of people somehow me personally, when I need to public speak and it's not something I've prepared for, my brain tends to shut off and I don't really know what to say or what I'm saying, and it can get kind of bad. But if you have the confidence in yourself to do the things you normally do that you would in Pugs or the things that you've practiced, and if you just reassure yourself while you are playing an actual game, this is going to help with your nerves because you've been in this situation before. You know how it plays out. You know what to expect in this type of play. You know what's going to happen. Like, if you second guess yourself, if you get scared to do the plays you normally do, things are going to fall apart really quickly. I had a big slump a few months ago where I just wasn't hitting shots. I felt like I was always in a bad situation, and eventually I realized that I wasn't playing with confidence. Essentially, the things that I usually do or the plays I would normally go for, I just wasn't going for them anymore, and in turn I started performing really badly in scrims and in matches. And once I kind of figured out that I was just not playing how I usually play, when I was not taking the risks I would take or should take in situations, once I fixed that, I started playing a lot better again and basically started playing as my normal self. So just making sure that you're doing the things you usually do and making the plays you normally make is going to help with your nerves a lot. Just make the play, and then if it doesn't work, you can learn from it. The only difference is you did it in a different environment, whether it's like a match or whatever. The third and final big picture idea with getting over nerves is the impact of the game that you are playing. Essentially, how important is this game going to be tomorrow or in a week or in a month? You know, if you play matchmaking and Pugs a lot, you might have figured out that the game that you played with that hacker on the other team yesterday really doesn't matter today. It's not important. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything. And of course, The more obviously the more important of a game that you're playing is, then the impact is going to be a little higher too. So for example, if you're losing games in your ESEA league, like, let's say I lose a game in intermediate, then yeah, I am losing a game in intermediate. I'm paying like $15 plus tax to play in intermediate, as well as your premium fee for ESEA. And you could say I'm losing money, but at the same time, you don't gain money for winning. But either way, I'm putting in money to play in these higher levels of Counter-Strike. And yeah, it does suck that I lose because I want to win. Obviously, I'm kind of competitive, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if I win or lose. Come tomorrow, so what if I lose that scrim on Vertigo? Come tomorrow, so what if we lost that match on Dust 2? It doesn't really affect anything. Sure, it affects our standings. Sure, it affects our chances at getting to playoffs, but you kind of have to reframe your perspective. Is that so important that I need to be mad over it? Come a week from now, would I really still be this mad about it? And again, the higher up you go in importance, the more it will matter. Some semi-pro team that's trying to make it into the ESL Pro League, if they lose the last round in the qualifier, yeah, that means a lot. That's your job. For sure, you should be angry and a little upset. But when it comes to like ESEA, when it comes to a season of IM, is that really important to me? To some extent, yes. I do want to win. I want the people I'm playing with to do well. I want them to win. But at the end of the day, win or lose, it doesn't matter. We're still a bunch of people playing Counter-Strike. And at the very least, if there's another chance where we can be in the same situation, if we get to play another season of IM, then we can use what we learned this time around to improve for the next time. If it turns out there is no next time, then, it was an experience that we shared together. It was fun. Playing organized Counter-Strike is always going to be fun to me. Even if we lose 10 games in a row, or if we win 10 games in a row, it's still going to be fun. I enjoy organized Counter-Strike much more than anything. And at the end of the day, we all die. So, let that sink in and reframe your perspective on life. Anyway, thanks for watching, and like the video if you like the video. We have bombs still, so.
Jump up.
Yeah, no.
Yo, this is honestly a good awakening for me.